Hello 表姨丈 or Hello 三姑丈 Hello 三姑媽
Are you serious?
you
You have to say hello to each
Yes!
person?
And then you have to say goodbye to each person.
Welcome to the Asian Soup Podcast. This is your co-host Jules.
And this is your co-host Rox.
The Asian Soup Podcast is your safe space on the internet where we share and discover real stories.
We talk about a range of topics from career, personal goals, growth, TV shows, and much more.
Come sit with us
and get nourished. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. We recently were sick, so we haven't seen each other in ages.
Yes. We normally try and try and publish an episode every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've noticed, we've skipped once.
Yeah. So we ate dinner after our pachinko episode.
Which is our previous episode.
Yeah, our previous episode. And we went to a kind of Hong Kong cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And what I remember, like, it's a bit dirty, actually, this place that we went to. But what we loved about it going before that was the Hong Kong style French toast.
Oh, so good.
So good.
With peanut butter.
So good.
Well, I felt a bit weird. Like I was wearing shorts, so I was feeling a bit chilly and stuff.
And the table, we had to ask them to wipe the table again.
Twice.
Yeah,
twice. But yeah, and then I started getting a bit of a sore throat.
But
I
straight away.
No, I thought my throat was hurting because I went to karaoke the night before and I sung
two nights before.
Yeah, 2 nights before. So I was, singing my heart out. So I was like, wow, I must have really went hard on Friday night because my throat's hurting.
Yeah.
And then I get a text message from you.
I was okay, but I felt the sore throat too. And then Tuesday, like, I needed to take it off. But Monday, I already went to get a PCR test. Then Tuesday, it was positive, and then I just took it off. I took Tuesday and Wednesday off from work.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit.
Yeah.
I'm a COVID spreader. I need to tell everyone I met over the weekend that I have it.
Yeah.
And then, got positive test on Tuesday. And then, and then I was like, Julia, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I got COVID.
Yeah.
I probably have it now. Like, fuck. I'm
You
so
were
sorry.
so-
I was like, don't stay away from your parents. Like, I don't know. It was just, I think what's more scary is spreading it.
Anyways.
COVID, bye. And let's move into our topic.
Our topic, which is language. We're going to talk about language today.
Yeah.
So what languages do you speak, Rox?
I speak English and I speak Cantonese and really bad Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that's it.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I speak English, Korean, and a bit of Japanese.
And English was both our second languages, right? Because we both had to go in our episode about our Asian Aussie experience. We shared that we were both in ESL class.
Yes.
In like year one.
Thanks for the reminder. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So Rox and I, we're both, if you can't tell from our Aussie accent, we're from Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
And we both, I'm Korean Australian, Rox is Chinese Australian.
Mm-hmm.
And we both can speak I spoke Korean at home.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously Australia is an English speaking country, so we're bilingual, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess we're also first generation. We speak to our parents in our mother tongue,
Yes.
So I guess we have a similar experience, I feel, but different because it's a totally different language and culture.
Yeah. I feel like it's very similar. I also feel like our levels
are different though.
No, I think it's the same. I reckon my level of Korean is the same as your level of Canto.
I think it's different just because I can't read or write. I have to guess it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's probably so much I don't know because of that.
Yeah.
Because if you can read it or write a language, you really know the language, But I can't say that I'm like proficient. Like I can't, when I was in Hong Kong, I couldn't say that there were certain roles I couldn't go for because I can't read and write like Chinese.
Yeah.
But Korean, you can read and write.
No, but it's completely different, Rox. Korean is like there's only like 15 letters, like and like
It's
10
still
consonants.
Still important.
You just have to memorize like a group of like characters, whereas like Chinese is like you have like millions of characters, don't you? Thousands of different like radicals and strokes.
I don't know how it makes sense. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like Chinese is just like next level. Like I don't know how you can just remember all those characters. So it makes so much sense if you can't read or write it.
Yeah, so I like in speaking, of languages and we did Saturday school. So I did Saturday school for like kindergarten, year 1 and year 2, and then I gave up because I was like just begging my parents that I hated it, I don't want to go. Yeah, because you end up going to this like school that you don't go to on a Saturday, and they put you in these rooms, and you don't really have. Well, I didn't really have friends there, so it just felt so boring. Even though it wasn't like, I don't know, it was just really hard. And the homework you get for Chinese, like, because I was trying to learn Cantonese. Cantonese is speaking, and then Chinese characters is all the same, but I was learning traditional Chinese in characters.
That's harder, right? There's traditional and simplified.
Simplified is for like mainland China, and then traditional Chinese characters is used by Taiwan and Hong Kong, and then but Taiwan speaks Mandarin. Most of China speaks Mandarin, and then Hong Kong speaks in the Cantonese dialect. So it's a dialect, and people in Shanghai if they grow up there, they can speak Shanghainese dialect. There's Fujian, like there's all types of dialect.
Right.
But the main dialect is Mandarin.
Right.
But the characters are all the same.
Right. So
the writing
Cantonese
is all the same.
Is a dialect.
Yeah. That's a spoken dialect. Oh, like I don't know if it's spoken, it's also written too.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a dialect.
So how would you say I love you in Mandarin and I love you in Cantonese?
I love you in Mandarin is 我爱你. And the pronunciation is different. So it's also slightly easier to learn because there's 5 tones.
Which one?
In Pinyin. So
Mandarin's easier or Canto?
Mandarin's meant to be easier because there's 5 tones. So it's like, I can't even do it right now. But
try it.
I can't even, it's like Bopom Morpho or something, but I'm not even saying it right. It's like, dun, 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 dun. That's all I know, but like,
dun, dun, dun,
dun. Yeah, it's like, there's different, like, I don't even know how to say those 5 tones properly. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's Mandarin. And then Cantonese, I love you is ngo ngo nei.
Okay. So is that sort of related to what I need, or is that completely different?
It's the same characters. Characters.
Interesting.
But the pronunciation is different.
Right.
Like the word is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how you say it is different. So formal written, all I know is that formal written Chinese is pretty similar, but when you're speaking, and obviously between different regions there's more diverse cultures and they have their own kind of language, so yeah there's probably different ways of writing things too that are only in Chinese and Cantonese than Mandarin.
Right. So this is a random question, but what about library? How do you say library?
圖書館 in Cantonese. And then Mandarin, I'm guessing now, 图書館. Maybe. But that's me guessing. So there's always a thing. It's like, there's always a thing that like people in China can guess that you're from Hong Kong because the way you're trying to change your tone and make it into Mandarin, it's obvious to them that you're like, oh, you're from Hong Kong, like your Chinese is shit. like because they can pick up your accent,
Right.
So it's almost like someone can tell that we're Aussie in America.
Like when Ben and Lindsay were trying to speak in an Aussie accent.
Yeah, like you can tell that it's not right. Like, like it's not right. You're trying, but it's not right. But I can kind of communicate with you. Yeah.
Interesting. I asked about the library because it's very similar in Korean and Japanese.
Oh,
so it's the same Chinese characters, I believe.
Yeah.
In Korean, it's 도서관.
Oh my god, it sounds exactly the same.
And in Japanese, it's 도서관.
Oh my gosh. That's so interesting,
right?
Isn't it? It's like beyond the ancestors, like, is there even more the language?
Yeah.
And how that broke up. It's kind of like Latin, not Latin, but Latin breaking up into different languages or the German language and where that stems from, breaking up into different languages in different countries.
But
Just
Chinese,
so crazy.
the Chinese characters is like the root of Japanese and Korean, at least, because
it's crazy. Like ages ago.
Yeah, because Koreans used to use Chinese characters as well.
Yeah.
And then there was like a king called King Sejong.
Yeah.
And he realized that like the peasants, it was just so hard for them to read and write, and he wanted everyone to be able to read and write. So he designed his own.
He's a designer. He's a graphic designer. Like he
He's
had
a
to do the
language
language too. But you know how people do like letter, what do you call it?
Typography.
Typography.
Yeah. Well, they're just designing letters, a cute way of writing letters.
He actually made up the language, which is insane.
Yeah. So what he did was...
How did he know to make an alphabet?
I think... So there's like a logic behind all the letters. So for example, like A. If you want to write A in Korean, it's like a circle because that's like a no sound. And then you've got like... So it's like a circle and then you go one stroke down and then one stroke to the right.
What's that?
So it's like this, like that.
What's that?
And that line, that stroke that comes out to the right,
So,
it's meant to be like a tongue, like or something like that. So it's like And
so what's that noise?
That's how you write
What's that
it.
character?
That's how you read
okay.
A.
I thought it was just circle. Okay.
Yeah.
Circle and that.
That is A.
Yeah,
And
I love that the characters have meaning.
It's
Not meaning, but it's
completely
meant to be this
phonetic.
phonetic. But
Yeah.
also, it was meant to be the tongue, like you said.
Yeah, something to do
Like,
with the tongue.
yeah.
Yeah. And like even like the M, it's like a square. It's like M sound. And I don't know.
How's
I think
that written?
I'm not sure, but I think it comes from some sort of mouth shape or something like that.
Okay.
So it's very simple
very
and it's very
cool.
logical. Yeah, so it all stems from Chinese in the end. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you know like Japanese as well.
Yeah.
Kanji is like still a big part, a huge part
like-
of the Japanese language.
Yeah. Like even traveling in Japan, I could guess some things.
Yeah.
Like, you know, chicken or I don't know, the station, it's car is still car. Like, I don't know. There's certain things you can see.
Yeah.
But I did want to say like Saturday school to learn the characters. You just have this exercise book, which is a grid, like just the boxes, right?
Yeah.
You literally just need to copy it again and again and then copy it until you remember it.
Yeah.
And like you said, like the different characters.
Yeah.
Like there's a mouth, like a square is a mouth. There's different sides to Chinese characters that it's like when people say, oh, how do you write that character again? And then, or which character do you mean? Because in Chinese, there's a lot of characters that are pronounced the same way.
Yeah.
But there's different characters of that same sound, which is fucked up. Like, so if I said,
I'm confused.
If I said yat versus yat, or even if I say yat,
Yeah.
that means day, but there's different types of characters that sound like that.
Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
If I say some, that's heart. There's some for heart, and there's also some for, which is part of my name actually, and it means deep. And for deep, there's even different characters to to express the deep.
Right.
Like there's a different version of deep that has a slightly different meaning. Like it's so weird. So anyways, there's like different words, and then people will be like, oh, which character do you mean by saying that? And they'll have to say like, oh, the one where you have that character.
Oh, like person character in it, or water in it.
Yeah, like, oh, the left side is this. It's like the boat, and then the middle is like, it has the grass character, or it has the day character, and then the tick. That's one.
Cool. So you would say that verbally.
Like, oh yeah, it's that one. Oh, they're like, oh, okay, I get it now. It's like, what the hell? So it's really, really hard. So I just gave up. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Sounds so
But I wish
hard.
I knew it. Like, I wish I knew it. But what I love about it is that there's so much meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's really beautiful about it.
Actually beautiful.
Like, oh my God, it's freaking beautiful. But even I feel a bit like biased towards English, because it's just like English, it's like there's so many words, right? There are so many words, but in Chinese or even Japanese or whatever, it's like there's words you didn't even know that existed, right? And when you look at poetry, it's just a whole other level. It's just a different level, because it's like that character already has meaning, and when you use that character with another character, it has this other meaning.
And then you mean like using that in poetry as well?
In poetry, like
as well.
just yeah, it's like another level. I feel it's like it's just different. It's just different.
You can't even describe it in English until you learn it and break it down.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that you can't describe. I feel in English.
I know what you mean, because I remember like the word for being thankful.
Yeah.
In Korean it's 감사합니다, like 감사. That was a Chinese character, and then in Japanese it's kansha, like kansha suru, like to have, to be thankful. And in Korean it's 감사합니다, you know, 감사합니다.
Yeah.
So 감사, kansha, and that kanji, the kan is, let me know if you know this rings a bell in Chinese as well, but the kan actually means like it's heart or feeling. The kan is feeling. And then the sha, kamsa, it means, oh, I might have to look it up, but do you know what it is?
I don't know.
Is this not right? Okay.
Because when I think about thank you in Chinese or in Cantonese, there's two thank yous. Yeah. There's 多谢, or 谢谢 is Mandarin, so that's like a blanket thank you, like thank you in general. But in Cantonese, there's two thank yous, and you can tell if someone's like ABC or an expat if they can't tell the difference between them two. Because, like, say I'm in a cab and I finish paying and I say thank you. You say "mgai sai" or "mgai" because that's a service and they helped you with something, but you're not physically getting anything. So you say "mgai," that's thank you. But then if someone gives you something, like your parents help you with, give you something like, oh, here's your rice, oh, mgai. But then if someone gives you a gift, it's your birthday, someone gives you a gift, you say "doze," like "doze." Do is a lot, and then ze is the sheshe. Sheshe is ze.
So it's like big thanks.
Big thanks. And that's when you receive something. Wait, physically.
I'm wondering if any of my Chinese friends have ever said big thanks to me. I don't know, like in English, but yeah, anyways.
Yeah. So
what about gratitude?
That's like a hard one, because I don't think I'm good enough at Cantonese to know.
Because I'm
gratitude.
Just dying to remember what in how I say it's 감사.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what this heart.
Oh. When you say 감사, I think of gum. I think of there's this phrase in Cantonese that's gamyan, but people usually say that about, like, God bless, like thank you God, or like thank you for blessing me. Like gamyan is being thankful, like you know, thank you God or something
so
like that.
is the gum heart?
Gum, I don't know
Or
how
feeling?
to, that's the thing, I don't know how to write it. So I can look it up, but it's like that's what it sounds like, because it's like half of thankful.
Yeah, I think that's the same.
Yeah, it's like thank
so
you.
the gum is heart, and then the sa or the sha is like, I think it's like sorry. Like heart is sorry. Okay, I
It's
think
kind of sad.
it's that kind of sad, but that means thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I reckon there is just so, like, Chinese is such an interesting language.
Yeah. And then there's formal and informal, and then
Oh yeah. So is there formal and informal in Chinese, like Canto? Oh, what do you mean by formal and informal? Do you mean the writing, or do you mean speaking?
Oh, yeah, like writing or the news. The news in Hong Kong, when I'm watching the news, I'm like, what the hell are you saying? Like, is that the same in Korean?
Yeah.
What the hell are you saying? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And the tone is totally different and formal. Like, it's so weird. But then speaking is kind of
It's the
different.
same.
Yeah.
Right. Because in Korean, there's like formal and informal as well in speaking.
Okay.
So when you're speaking to elderly people.
Like Japanese.
Yeah, like Japanese. Elderly or people you don't know, you typically speak in like a formal way. So for example, 감사합니다 is formal because 합니다, like anything with like na, like at the end is like pretty polite. Yeah. Whereas like impolite would be 고마워.
That's thank you?
Yeah, that's thank you. So you say 고마워 to friends.
In Korean?
Yeah.
How do you say it again?
고마워.
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 Yeah. Or like for example, 사랑해.
Yeah.
사랑해 is I love you.
I love you, yeah.
So you say that's the informal way.
사랑해.
But 사랑해요 is polite.
Formal. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, another thing. This is random. Like in Cantonese, I remember whenever I would have to go to Hong Kong to visit my relatives, like I have a lot of relatives there. If it's your dad's side, auntie. If it's my dad's younger sister or younger brother, there's a different word for auntie and uncle. If it's his older brother or sister, there's a different word for auntie and uncle.
Yeah.
If it's mum's side and older and younger, different.
Same.
Both sides different. So there's 4 types.
Same.
So like, but in English, you don't have that.
You just say Uncle Bob.
Yeah, or something.
Uncle Nancy.
Yeah, it's like doesn't matter who's who. And then if it's second cousin, there's an extra word for that.
Yeah.
And say like my cousin has a kid, they always like, oh, so and so. Say hello to your Bill. Like I can't even think of it. Sorry. Like it's a second cousin auntie, something like that. Like, it's just very complicated.
It's so complicated.
And it goes on, and you're like, dude, I can't like keep up.
Yeah, even like Koreans. So if it's like your sister-in-law, there's a word for sister-in-law, and that's what you know in pachinko.
Yeah. That's what they call
each other. It's like 동서 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite nice.
It's different. Yeah, it's
having that,
interesting.
because having that
defines your relationship.
Yeah, it instantly
very clear.
Brings you're instantly family just because of that one word.
And it's very clear that you're my brother's wife.
Yeah.
And I'm your husband's, or something like I'm your husband's sister, or something, or I'm your husband's brother's wife. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know the relation by just saying that relation already.
Yeah.
But in English, you have to say, oh, my husband's sister's wife. I don't know, something. Yeah. Something, you have to actually say that.
Yeah.
Whereas in Chinese or Korean, you already have a word for it.
I wonder what that means. Does that mean like family values are strong for Asian cultures? Because like the only sort of equivalent I can think of is like the word husband or wife. So when you get married, you can use that word to express like, oh, husband, like you're my husband or you're my wife. And calling someone your husband or your wife, it feels funny, right? When you get married. I'm not married, but but you know what I mean? Like husband or whatever. Yeah. And I feel like that's the limit. Like that's it. Yeah. Whereas in Asian cultures, it's like, you know, 동서 or like second cousin. Like there's a special word for it.
Word for that person.
Which brings more like value, I guess, to that person.
I don't know. I feel like maybe it's because the Chinese language is older. So then maybe like to define the family trees and stuff, maybe they just made up words for it. Whereas maybe English is not as old as or maybe English, they did have that and then they simplified it and then they just blanket, oh, my in-law. Whereas we don't know.
We don't know. This is Rox just guessing.
I'm just guessing. Because the history is different. I have no idea. But, you know, maybe it was just too much work and Chinese people were like, all the language, they're like, well, let's keep it, you know, define
or maybe
things
there were
properly.
Like lots of incestual families, so they wanted to prevent that.
Maybe. I don't know. That's a good theory. No. That's a good theory.
Another theory.
And then, but there's also like, you know, say it's like your husband's mum, or if you're a guy and it's your wife's mum, then you have different words for that.
Yeah.
There's a different word for calling your in-law. Your mother-in-law is a different word. Yeah. Depending on if you're the guy or the girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And even grandma on different sides is different word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same. 외할머니 and 친할머니. Like,
what's 친할머니?
친할머니 is dad's side. 외할머니 is on your mum's side.
Yeah.
But so interesting.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I think it does say, like when we were talking about the formal and informal, I think language and culture is very linked, and that formality, it's in the culture. Like I feel like it's definitely in the culture. And the respect your elders. Like, this is the family tree. Respect the people above this. You're here. You're like on the bottom. So, and there's tiers.
And you know what's messed up?
There's levels.
These tiers are built from just age. You know what I mean? Like just because you're older, you need more respect.
You need more respect.
Whereas that's a bit different. I mean,
you just grow up knowing that.
Yeah. So I feel like us as Asians, we have lots, not limits. That's not the right word, but it's like it can be tricky for us because we feel like we have to be a certain way in Western culture.
We're like, we grow up polite.
We're polite.
We are. No, well, like we're growing up trying to be polite, or else you're a bad kid.
Like I say sorry way too much.
Yeah.
Like, I consciously try and stop myself from saying sorry.
I say sorry so much.
You say you say sorry.
We both do.
It's okay if I got COVID,
Get
Rox.
over it. No,
it's fine.
That's shit.
It was gonna happen.
Nah, that's gross. Like
we both got it at the Hong Kong place. It wasn't even you.
I swear, I can't go there anymore. Like we can't go there anymore.
We can't.
We could probably get takeaway French toast, but we don't need anything else from there.
One more chance.
I don't think we can eat there.
Right.
Like maybe we need a takeaway and eat it here or something.
That sounds like a good plan.
But yeah, another thing I wanted to say. What are we talking about?
We're saying we're polite.
We're polite. Oh yeah. So when I had to say goodbye to people, like growing up and seeing relatives and stuff, you have to say goodbye, like hello. When you come into a room full of the adults and you're a kid, you have to say hello, biểu姨丈, or hello, Samgu-장, hello, Samgu-ma, hello. Like I'm saying hello.
What? Are you serious? You have to say hello to each person?
And then you have to say goodbye to each person with their right term.
No. So if there's 50 people,
okay, that's too hard. But like by the time you face to face, you'd be like, oh, but like if it's a relative that you have the term, if you're a kid, you should say the right.
So
word.
are you saying like
and they teach you when you're a kid? You're like, you better say hi to, you know,
like blah 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 label, like name.
Blah blah label.
Yeah. Interesting.
Auntie blah.
Is there a strong like greeting emphasis in your culture?
I think so.
Like you have to say like how
Each
like
person.
so if you're good at greeting adults, you're a good kid.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you need to
Mm-hmm.
greet all the adults.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be so shy too. Like I sometimes like I don't know.
If you're a good kid and you're shy, you can't do the greetings, you're a shit kid.
You're a shit kid. Yeah,
Yeah. It's the same in Korean culture.
and you're not smart or something.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
maybe you just can't talk.
There's something wrong
properly.
with that
yeah,
kid.
There's something wrong. Yeah, like she doesn't know how to say that. So weird. Like my other son could speak it when he was 3, or they'll
Yeah.
just start.
But when you say
that thing.
hello, is it a wave
Hello.
or is it like a bow?
I actually say just hello. Just say it. I don't know why I say that. Someone correct me if you're from Hong Kong. But
What hello? Is that that might not even be the right
well,
greeting?
you don't even need to say hello to each person. You can just say, "Oh, Auntie, Nei Hao," or you can say Nei Hao if they're really old, but which is Ni Hao, which is Ni Hao.
What's Leiho?
You good, Ni Hao.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah. So in Korean, you have to do you don't have to, but the 90-degree bow is pretty good.
That's
And you
hard.
say 안녕하세요. You don't have to say like
The longer,
auntie.
the more respect or something.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
lower.
Yeah, if you're really good at doing that bow, you're a good kid. But if you're not, they're going to get pissed. Even like my dad, he gets really upset when he comes home and I don't come out to greet him. That's like a
Do you bow to your dad?
No, I don't bow, but I have to come. So whenever my parents come home, I have to come out and be like, oh, 왔어? Like, oh, you're home. Like, I have to greet them. If I don't, that's really disrespectful. And that took me quite a long time to wrap my head around because I was like, what's the problem? But I realized
That's so
Koreans have a
interesting.
huge greeting culture. It's called 인사. You have to 인사해. Otherwise, it shows that you're not showing any respect to your elders.
Recognition.
So I just told Ryder. So for anyone who's interested, I live with my parents and with my partner at the moment. And I just told Ryder, I was like,
just
hey,
say
look,
hi. You have to say hi.
there's just one rule in this house.
have
It's
to.
unspoken.
You can't. You have
You
to.
must come out when dad comes home and you must
Even if you're
say,
doing
oh, hello, dad.
in the
Like,
shower.
you
When you come out of the shower, you have
you
to.
have to. Yeah, even if you're in the shower.
Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Just
At
come
some
out.
point, you have to say.
At some point, you have to greet. It's a huge thing. And I didn't even realize it. And it's actually like a little bit of a life hack, actually. If you just nail that one thing, like life is sweet.
hack.
Yeah, it's a life hack. But it took me
Yeah.
like 30 something years to actually
Oh my
realize
gosh.
it. What about
That's
you?
interesting.
Is there such thing?
My parents don't. Yeah, they're not. They didn't really have that, but like it wasn't forced or drilled in or anything. But when when we go and see aunties, we have to say hi to everyone. But when people come home,
You're allowed.
and if you're awake and like they're there, you just say like "Fanela." What does that mean? Which is like, oh, you're back.
Okay, so that is that is what.
Oh, it's like a question.
Yeah,
it's almost
yeah.
like a question, like, oh, you're back.
Yeah, no, that's
Are
what
you?
I say.
Like-
왔어?
Like,
well,
you're
you're
back.
back. You're back. So
Shit, I'm back. I'm right here.
no, but you
Like,
have to say it.
you
You're
have to
back.
say it, like,
You
"Oh,
have to ask
Fanela."
them.
It's like
they're
it's
back.
almost like if you've eaten, like you can't. It's for some reason you can't say hi, like welcome home. You don't say welcome home or how are you. You say, oh, have you eaten? Oh, you're back.
Yeah. So do you
Oh.
have to ask? Are you back?
Well, you don't have to ask, but it's just natural to say that because they're back.
So you're
Like that's the only thing you can say because they just came back. Like,
what if you don't? What if you're in your bedroom, you hear them come back, and you don't come out and say you're back? Is that, or would you?
well, maybe
does
you're
that never
busy or
happen?
something. And,
No, but would you
but
come
at
down?
some point, I think it's like you have to say some kind of greeting, like, oh, you finished work.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
or how was the shops or something? Like it depends what was happening, like context, like how was, I don't know, but usually that's the most basic, like you're home.
Right. So in
You're home.
So in my mind,
So
when my
weird.
dad comes home, I would say like between 0 to like 1 minute.
Yeah. Oh, there's
I'll-
a time limit.
That's probably when I'll have to come out and do
That's
the
so funny.
oh, you're back, in Korean.
Back, yeah.
But for you, it's if you're at, in your room,
yeah.
is it okay? Like, I feel
I
like
think
you
it's
would come
different.
out. I feel like you would come out
I
and
feel
say
like
hi.
I would
You're a
come
good
out,
kid.
but then I think it might be different because my dad used to do shift work. So, and maybe my parents aren't as like, we come home at different times, or maybe, if I was growing up, they'd pick me up from school or something. Like it wasn't, I don't know. Yeah, it's not as, but they'll definitely say that if I come back, I guess, and if they're still awake. Like, yeah, I guess so.
I
You're
feel
right.
like you would naturally do it.
I think it's just natural. Like, I don't think I
You don't even
knew it was a thing.
Yeah, you just naturally do it because you're naturally a good kid. Whereas I'm
No, I can be
My
pretty bad.
dad
at home.
kept getting pissed at me because I'm just like,
Oh.
I don't want to. I just don't say hello. For me, I don't
Yeah.
have that embedded in me, like the good girl in me.
My dad
I'm a
hardly
bit
gets angry at me, but
But I think you're just a good kid. You have, you being like, oh, you're back. Like you just naturally have it. Whereas I have to force it out of me.
oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
That's funny though that you're back.
But my brother
Exactly
doesn't
the
say
same.
anything. Sorry for calling
Oh,
you
your
out,
brother
but
doesn't.
I
So maybe it's
I
a
don't think so because
you're the eldest, maybe.
his Cantonese isn't as good either. So I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't know.
See, that's
I don't
me.
know.
I'm your little brother.
No.
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I am.
I don't think so. But then the difference is your dad is upset, and then also it matters to him that you remember to say hi, or maybe he just wants to see you.
They're just
Like,
adults, not just my dad, but
adults.
even my mum would say, yeah.
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 But
yeah,
interesting. It's so funny that it's the same thing.
Yeah, you're back.
You're back? Question mark? Like, why? Okay. Wanted to see, like, in what circumstances do you think in Korean or speak in Korean?
Yeah.
Or count in Korean?
You said you count in Chinese?
No, I don't count in Chinese, but I learnt my times tables in Cantonese.
Oh, can you
Oh my
recite
God,
some of it?
It's so embarrassing. But it's like yeah, sam. That's just like your one times tables, and you go all the way till 9.
Yeah.
And that's called like the Gaoyango or something. I don't know if
Oh my
people
God,
actually
sounds similar.
do that, but it's like the 9 times tables, and you just go from 1 to 9, and then and I did that, like my parents taught me that on the drive to school.
Yeah.
So then I just had to learn that way, like
Just
my
like
times tables.
Chinese people are smart.
No, but like, I don't know. So when I do my times tables, I think in Cantonese.
My parents try to make me learn my timetables in Korean as well because it's similar. In Korean, it's kugudan.
Oh,
Ku is 9. So maybe it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't really remember it, but it'll be like, I don't even know. I can't even recite it because I never learned it. It was too hard. I'm like, how am I meant to do my timetables in Korean when I can't even say my numbers properly?
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like if you learnt that method, you could do your timetables in your head really, really fast. Because it'll be
That's
like,
so funny.
you'll just like recite
like
it in your head. But yeah, I wouldn't count in Korean. I'm definitely someone who incorporates Korean into my everyday like language. So I'll be like, 뜨거, like hot. Oh, that's hot. I will say 뜨거. I will say that when I'm around the right people. And that's just like a way more, I don't know, it's so expressive, like 뜨거. Whereas like in English, what am I going to say? Oh, it's hot. I don't know. It's just not the same
it's
effect.
different. It's like the expression is just different.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I think that in Korean I can be more loving.
Yeah. How?
Like so in Korean
Examples.
there's something called 애교. And 애교 is like, it's like being a bit cutesy, loving, more affectionate.
Isn't there a word in Japanese for that too?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think it's like a Korean thing. I don't even know if there's like Chinese characters for
loving,
애교.
cutesy
Yeah,
talk, sweet.
Yeah, or just being really affectionate.
Is it a girly thing, or is it like guys can be like that too?
Guys can
It's
be like that too.
affectionate. Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe when you speak to kids, like babies, or is it different?
I think it's more to like
Couples.
lover kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And 애교 is like, yeah, even like on Korean variety shows, sometimes they'll ask a celebrity, be like, oh, can you show some 애교? And then they'll just do something cute.
Oh, wow.
Like something cutesy.
That's so interesting. Okay, give us some examples.
Okay, so an example would be...
Show us something cute.
So there was a thing in Korea that was like, it's really old now. It's like 1 + 1 is cute. Like that's the... Okay, I can't...
Say it!
It'll be like 1 더하기 1은 귀요미. So it's like 1 × 1 is
cute.
귀요미 is like I'm a cutie, like cutie.
Oh.
2 더하기 2는 귀요미. 3 더하기 귀요미. But then
They
you do
all
it like
equal cute?
Hmm?
Do they all equal cute?
Yeah, they're all equal cute. But like you so
3
1
and
times
3 is
yeah, so it's 1 × 1 is cute, 2 × 2 is cute, 3 × 3 is cute. So it's like, but you do it like the actions are cute. So it'll be like 1 × 1 is 귀요미. Like you.
I like that.
Also, I can't remember this. I can't remember. It's like 1 더하기 1은 귀요미.
In what
context
would you suddenly do that to your partner?
So you might just do it, or you might be put on the spot. Like Koreans love putting people on the spot. Like, oh, do that cute thing.
Do that cute
and
thing.
then they have to like do it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So
I love
that's
that.
an example.
That's so cute.
I've never done it to Raido. But with Raido, I'm definitely more cutesy.
Yeah. Like you can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you like that? You're not?
In Cantonese?
Like when you're acting, do you act cute to your partner?
Yeah, but not in Cantonese.
In English?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think I was saying like in Cantonese, if I think about Cantonese, it's like, it's not cute. Like I will think of rude words or expressive words or meaner ways to say something.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in Cantonese that I feel like between couples is really cutesy.
Right.
I can't think of that right now. Like,
yeah.
I don't think there is.
Yeah. We were chatting a bit earlier about this.
Yeah.
And yeah, you were saying like you would use Cantonese when you want to be more mean. Like if you want to just emphasize something a bit more mean or to be a bit more rude, that's when you might replace English with Cantonese.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you elaborate? Because that's so interesting.
So like just then when you were talking about what someone did, and I was like, I almost spoke Cantonese and I almost said T-scene, which is like
before. So I said, oh, this person did this, and then X, and then you got shocked.
Yeah, and just being shocked, sometimes I might just think in my head and I'll say, oh, T-scene, like, and that just means crazy. And then people will be like, oh, T-scene-ga.
T-scene-ga.
Yeah, like, oh, they must be crazy. Like, or something like that. Crazy. Oh, it must be crazy. And then, but it's just a little bit more expressive than saying, oh, that's crazy in English.
Crazy a lot. So it must mean more.
It's just more. Yeah, it's just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I think it's just a bit more. Cantonese to me just has this vulgarity, like in the colloquial language, like the swearing or just the way people say stuff. Like, and maybe it's also the culture. Like, it's very jabby. Like, it's really jabby. Like, okay, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
There was this one job that I had resigned in Hong Kong, and then I had signed the contract to start my new job ASAP because they wanted me to start ASAP. So then I was like, okay, sure, I'll try to you end on a Friday and then you start your new job on a Monday. But ideally you get the 2-week break in between and it feels like you're starting a real job, like you have that little break, blah, blah. But for some, they needed to fill in that spot and they wanted me to start early And then when you start a new job, you're like, okay, sure, I'll try to adjust, right? And then, so yeah, I was just telling them my last day and then like when I'm starting my new job. And then the guy was like, huh? 好等錢使啊?
That sounds so rude already.
咁快嘅？好等錢使啊? And then that just means like, oh, so quick. You're waiting for money? You're really waiting for money to spend? Or something. It's like that. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it just felt really rude. But people will just say that to you.
Is this the old job who said that or the new job?
The old job.
Oh.
Old job. I was leaving and he was like, oh, you're starting Monday already. Oh, you like that. And he said that. And I was like, whoa, dude. Like,
wow.
It's just the way that it's said. Doesn't it sound bad?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's really like
it sounds bad.
Sarcastic. They love saying like sarcastic things. And yeah, it just, it's more like this, you know? It feels like they're like nudging, jabbing you.
Right.
The language. Yeah. So yeah, there's many examples like that.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I think Korean is also, if you use Korean like that, it can also be very effective in communicating rude messages. Like the swearing and the way you can say something. It's freaking rude.
It's so weird, but it's also so creative that you can say something like that. Whereas in English, no one would ever say that. Like you wouldn't say, oh, Julia, you're studying on Monday. That's so quick. Are you really waiting for money to spend? Like who says that in English?
But the point is that
it happens a lot.
Cantonese is not. I feel like Cantonese, you don't have egyo. There's no egyo. There's no like
I don't know of an egyo in Cantonese. There's one word for it, but it's usually about the girl being probably more egyo. Like, oh, hold there. Like she's really hold there, like, or even like a little girl or young kid who will really like want your affection, then they'll like maybe their voice is a bit higher or they're extra nice to you or they're extra affectionate. Then in general, that's not just about speaking though. That's also about like in general they hold their
character.
Yeah, very like affectionate and like warming up to you.
Right.
Like it's almost like they're snuggling up to you to get your affection back.
In a positive way or in a negative way, or neutral? Positive.
Neutral. It can be, yeah. Unless you're saying like that it's bad. But usually it's like, oh, like your daughter's so daily. It's like, oh, she's so like nice and affectionate and girly to you. Or if it's like, if you're with your partner, like boyfriend and girlfriend, then your girlfriend might be very dare to like, you know, just win some love from you or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But there's no like particular phrases. It's just could be you being nice. Like you being extra nice.
Yeah. I wonder if like there is a cute way of speaking in Cantonese, but it's just you don't know how.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
I didn't grow up there. So
you grew up
probably
here.
missing like that whole side.
I can't remember where I heard this from. I'm the worst podcast. I need to be referencing, but I heard someone, I think she was American, like Korean American or Asian American. Yeah. She was saying that her like Chinese or Korean is actually like this very archaic. Was that the right word?
Yes. Archaic
way of speaking because that's I remember now Whaley from YouTube.
I agree. Yes,
she said that like
because
her
she's speaking
Chinese
how her parents speak
and her grandparents,
and they left like years ago.
And also like she loves watching like the ancient Chinese dramas, like emperors and stuff.
Yeah.
So she watches that. Yeah. So she kind of
she thinks that's real. Like she thinks that those bits of the language is how.
Yeah. So she doesn't actually know the slang or like what's the the way people speak now. Yeah. So it could be something like that too.
Maybe it's like that. Yeah, I don't know. I actually watched that episode and then I felt like she spoke very well in Mandarin and Cantonese, but I do agree her Cantonese is a bit different. Like, but she's still very good. And then there's definitely things I still don't know in Cantonese that I had to learn.
Yeah.
Well, I still haven't learned. So
yeah. Were there any, because Rox, for anyone who hasn't tuned into our previous episodes, Rox lived in Hong Kong for a few years. How many years?
4.5 years before.
A long
I feel like I always talk
time.
about it and it's like, oh.
No, but it is so interesting.
But yeah, before, and then I was born there, but I grew up here since I was 6 months old. So I'm pretty much Aussie. I am Aussie, but then I decided to spend a few years there.
Yeah, like your late 20s.
Yeah, and then learned a lot of swear words I never knew existed.
So did you swear in Canto when you were there?
No, not really. Maybe like on a few occasions, but when you swear in Canto, it's really rude. Like it sounds so bad.
Yeah.
And there's different words for different things. Like there's a few different ways to say cunt. Like, and the way they say it is like, okay, I'll say an example. I can't believe I'm not going to say it, but it's like,
Is this for the C word?
Yeah, no, but a phrase.
Okay.
A phrase is like a really rude phrase that is said a lot by like men or people who are swearing is like, there's one which is like, fuck you, right? That's already like rude, right? There's another one, it's like, fuck your mum, right? That's the next level, okay? And then after that, it's like, fuck your mum's smelly. People just say that like say you're in a cab or like in a car or someone's like in the way, like bumps into you, or some people are fighting about something, or even joking. Maybe they're just joking. I don't know. Like, what the fuck? Like, why would you say that?
The extreme level? Is there more?
That's
the main one.
You can build. You can layer and build on that.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm laughing, but
it's very creative. Like that's why I'm saying it's creative, because like I had never heard of those combinations before until I worked with I did have this one colleague who swore a lot, and I was like, whoa, that's creative. But I can't believe you use it in, like, he could somehow intertwine it with his daily language, which I thought was like crazy, because you just drop it in and it's like so normal, but
wow,
not everyone can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm laughing, but Korean is the same.
Yeah.
People who swear, they swear so much, like not every second word, but if it's part of your language, it's there and it will just come out. With language, do you want to preserve it?
Yeah, I think it'd be good to like somehow pass it on if I do have kids, like try. But I think it's very hard to force a kid to do something, like, you know, as a kid going to Saturday school and wanting to quit. Like, you can't do anything if your kid like really doesn't want to learn it.
Yeah.
So ideally, yes. Like, I think it's important to have, you know, be able to speak the language. There's a, you know, whole other world you get to communicate in when you travel. Like, you kind of, get closer to your roots and stuff like that. And, you know, you have this other language you can chat to with, you know, and try to keep like passing that on. But I don't know. I don't think it's easy. I don't know. How about you?
I think I want to be able to improve my Korean and like be able like, I don't want to lose it. I definitely don't want to lose it. If anything, I want to improve it. But when it comes to children, I don't know how I feel. Like, I don't, if I have children, I don't know if, like, I think I'll have to think about it if I have children, like then. Yeah. But right now, I think communication is really important. Like being able to have like deep, meaningful conversations with people. And I do that best in English.
Yeah, English is still definitely like my most strong language. Like we can write it, we went to school with it, we grew up with it. We can do the professional version. It's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is in English for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, right? But I think, yeah, as long as we keep trying and we're able to share it with people, I think it's okay.
But the sad reality...
It's so hard, sad. It's so hard.
It's a sad reality for me that, you know, we're first gen, but second gen, third gen, fourth gen, fifth gen...
Dilution.
It's going to dilute for sure.
Yeah. There's some days where, like, at the beginning of the day, I'll be like, oh... with my partner, like, oh, we haven't spoken Cantonese in so long, like let's try to speak a whole day in it, and we last like 2 seconds.
2 seconds?
Like we last like two phrases and then we're done. Like we just speak English again.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's really hard. Yeah, it's tricky.
Should we drink some soup?
Yes.
It's time to get nourished.
Yay.
So today we are trying tan 호박죽, which is
단호박죽.
yeah, perfect. Sweet pumpkin soup. I mean, this is a bit I don't know. This might not really be soup. It might more be like it's almost entering porridge territory.
It's quite thick.
It's the instant version.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's going to taste good.
What's these little beanie looking things?
The beanie looking things is red bean.
Oh, okay. And it's a sweet soup, like a dessert kind of after dinner thing.
After dinner, before dinner, snack, breakfast. Yeah.
Oh, breakfast.
So it looks like just a regular pumpkin soup, but it's a little bit thick. And a lot of the times, sticky rice is like blended in as well. So that might be giving more of that like gluggy texture.
Oh, yeah. I feel like this is perfect for babies. It's got that thick porridge texture.
Yeah. This is like, it actually looks like baby food.
It's sweet.
You can really taste the sticky rice. I love this. I love this soup so much.
We're actually it'd be great in winter, warm as well. Hot.
So we're having it cold because I like having it cold. I actually think it's sweeter cold, but you can have it hot. And sometimes there's like mochi in here as well.
Oh my god, I love that.
Oh my god, this is so good. I love this soup so much.
It's very comforting.
This is so good.
I feel like I can taste it. Oh, I can feel the texture of the sticky rice more so than the taste. I taste very sweet pumpkin.
There's probably, I reckon there's sugar in here. But yeah, it's meant to be very sweet. The sticky rice is good. Yeah, it just looks like normal soup. But the difference is like Western pumpkin soup is savory, but this is sweet. It's like a dessert.
And it's, this is, there's no cream in it. Like, you know, it's pumpkin and sticky rice blended kind of.
Yeah.
And sugar. I like that it's just instant. You can just buy it.
The instant soup section in Korea is so good. I mean, the grocery stores.
That's crazy. Like, it's just ready for you.
And here, soup. I'm glad you like it.
So did you enjoy speaking about language today?
Yeah. It was really fun. I actually really liked today's setup. Like we're actually facing a little bit more
to each other.
So I got to like really look into your eyes.
And we adjusted our mic setup.
I like this setup. Felt really comfy. And if you're listening to us from like audio only, you can check out our YouTube. We actually have a really cozy setup here. We've got some YouTube lights and like a Himalayan salt lamp, and yeah, it's really cozy, really, really cozy.
That was really I'm definitely gonna finish it after we wrap up.
Well, if you've listened to the end, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening.
And
tell us about, what other language you might know, or any similarities or feelings you might have about language, whatever it is, might be about English or any Asian language or second language,
leave a comment in our Instagram post. We always have an Instagram post for each episode.
Yeah.
So if you have anything you want to share with us, feel free to drop them as a comment on our Instagram, or feel free to DM us. You can follow us on Asian Soup Podcast, or we have a website now, www.asiansouppodcast.com.
Woo!
And please give us a rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or I don't know. I think
wherever
it's
you're listening
Apple.
from.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in, and catch you in the next one.
See you soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.